We're going to get started with our presentation for the day. My name is Tony from DePaco Community Credit Union, and this is
Pete Spinoza. How's everyone doing tonight? Well, we're actually coming to you live from Cascade Innovation Lab tonight, located right here downtown Cascade, Iowa. So Tony and myself, we're actually part of the outreach and education team at DePaco. So what we're doing is we are providing financial wellness and education to the surrounding areas. So different schools, different businesses, different not-for-profits, anyone that we can try and reach and make better with their finances. So some exciting news, DePaco Community Credit Union, we actually partnered up with the Creative Adventure Lab to bring this kind of mutual working space for small business owners, entrepreneurs, just kind of as a space to come in here to work, not be disturbed, have access to technology, internet, things like that, just so you can kind of get away and really let the creative juices start to flow. So tonight, and going on here for the next 6 weeks, we're actually going to be talking to you guys about some different financial topics. So we're going to be doing this free web series for you starting tonight. We're going to be covering some budgeting and some savings tips and tricks. And then kind of as we go on there, you guys can see different topics that we have coming up. So some stuff about credit, how to take control of your debt, car shopping, buying a home, and then also, what kind of financial goals you have and how we can help you kind of prepare for the future. So we're, again, excited to have you guys here. We're going to kind of talk to you about some of this stuff. We're going to talk for a little bit, and then after, we're going to have the time for some Q&A. Also, too, if you guys are interested in getting in touch with someone, myself or Tony, or just someone where you'd like to come in and get some help living in this area, outside of this area, this is what the DePaco Connect location is for. So if you want to go ahead and reach out to us, you can do that at connect@depaco.com. You shoot us an email that way, and someone will follow up with you as soon as possible to kind of set something up and see what we can do, okay?
So also during the presentation here, if you guys do have any questions at all, feel free to ask us, and we can certainly answer those questions for you. That's not a problem at all. We do have the availability to look at chat during the conversation. So I'm gonna get started here for you guys. So the first thing, as you can see here, this is actually taken right from our website, which is just depaco.com. And if you search budget on our website, it's going to bring up this great page here. It's the first link under the search budget. And it's going to have some great topics for you to look at and some great information. Our website is loaded with financial education pieces. So as you can see here, many of you maybe have already read this, but really there's 3 steps when it comes to budgeting basics. What's important is to find out something that works for you. I do hear a lot of people say that they are currently budgeting, but it's something where, oh yeah, I looked at my budget years ago, and it was great at that point in time, and I haven't really looked at it since. It's really important to find a budget that you enjoy doing and then looking at it regularly. So find that method that works. And then also base your budget on income that you take home. That one's pretty self-explanatory, but I would even keep out any bonuses or tips that you make. I would really just try to keep it on your base pay. That way you're not looking at money that's going to fluctuate from month to month. The third one there is take savings seriously. So we are splitting this up a little bit tonight between the budgeting and savings. So the basics is getting that budgeting set up in hopes that you can have some extra money every month to save. So this is kind of a 2-part series. My name once again is Tony. I'm going to chat here about budgeting for maybe 5 or 10 minutes and show you some tips that we use here at DePaco, and then Pete is going to take over again and kind of chat with you a little bit about the savings section. So first question there is how to create a budget. Have you ever done this before? Is it something new to you? How do you even do it? So it's a great way to, as this mentions here, to gain control of your finances. You really got to know how much money you have coming in every month and how much money is going out, and if there's any money left over. I've helped quite a few people with budgets that at the end they're in the red every single month, and unfortunately, especially COVID season right now and everything else going on, people are living paycheck to paycheck or maybe don't have enough. So that's where you really have to take a look at your budget and see what maybe can be cut out. So it's really a great time to not only look at what's going on right now, but financial goals for your future. So as we've mentioned a few times here, when you're looking at your income, step one is your take home after taxes and any automatic deductions. So make sure you're including the taking out if you have 401k come out or anything else. Really what that paycheck is when it gets dropped into your checking or savings account. Expenses, this is a little bit more in depth here. So really there's a few different types of expenses out there. There's your fixed expenses, which are going to be bills that you pay every month that don't change. So these are things like maybe your mortgage, car payment, student loans, cable bill, cell phone bill. These are fixed expenses. So these are things that when you're looking at a budget worksheet, you can plug these in and you don't have to look at them as regularly because they do not change. On the other hand, this is where people really struggle with budgeting, is their variable monthly expenses. So these are things that can fluctuate. Excuse me, I'm not sure what we have going on here. Looks like we're okay. Hi, we're here at a go-to meeting.
Okay.
So thank you for joining. All right, so we'll get into the expenses here once again. As we were mentioning, we're talking about variable expenses. So these are the bills that can fluctuate from month to month. You know, and like I mentioned with budgeting, these are things that can really fluctuate, and these can cause your budget to have, you know, where you can really go in the red. So these can include utilities, gas, food, credit card payments. Maybe you have tires that you need for your vehicle one month, or your furnace goes out in your house. Where is that money coming from? Do you have enough in checking to cover it, or how exactly is that getting paid? So those are things that you really need to look for and make sure that you have the money to cover it. So also looking at unnecessary fees to avoid. This could be late fees, non-sufficient fund fees in your checking account. Maybe you're overdrafting your account. Those can cost $28 every single time it happens, so you got to be careful there. So how do you find these expenses? By looking at bank statements. It's great to go through a few previous months worth of bank statements to kind of divide your fixed expenses and your variable expenses out. So the last step then there is your budget. Once you know what all these things are going to cost you from a month-to-month basis, that's when you can take your income and subtract your expenses. And that's hopefully you don't find yourself in a shortage, and hopefully you have a little bit of money left over. It's really important to evaluate your spending habits and look for ways to save. DePaco here, we do offer a free money makeover where we can actually help you out, look over your budget, some different ways that you could possibly save money. Maybe you have a high interest rate on a vehicle loan or your mortgage, and that's something we can help you consolidate or lower. Maybe you have quite a few credit cards out there that we can consolidate into a home equity and really save you money every month. So those are things that DePaco we love to do through the money makeover, and really that's individualized for each person. So now you might ask, when you're doing this budget, how do I do it? Where do I do it? Do I just write it down on a piece of paper? And that's a great thing to think about. And actually we do have a printable resource right here. There's a budget worksheet. And once you click on that, it actually allows you to fill in each section, which is great. So all you have to do is click on that on our website, and it'll add up all of your expenses throughout the month, and then subtract your expenses from your income, and it'll show you what you have left. So there's also some great budget calculators out here as well. So some different things that can help you if you're struggling with how to budget. So I'm gonna now flip it over to Pete. Let me make sure I don't have any questions here in the chat real quick. And it doesn't look like I do. Hey everybody, once again, Tony here, and I'm gonna switch it over to Pete and we'll get going on our savings.
Well, that was some really good stuff, Tony. A lot of good ideas, a lot of great ways to kind of identify some different things. Obviously, with both budgeting and savings, we need to make sure that we're trying to figure out, things that we can do that we know we're going to be able to kind of help motivate us and things like that. So one of the things with saving, everyone knows that we need to save, but the actual act of savings itself is kind of where we're seeing some of the members, some of the non-members have, the hardest time. You know, a lot of the times when I'm out in the community, I like to ask people, you know, how do you do saving? Do you consider yourself a good saver? You know, I run into people that tell me they're pretty good. Otherwise, I meet people who say, you know, as long as I have something specific in mind, I'm pretty good at saving. And then I also meet people that, you know, they tell me, I try and save, I have good intentions of saving, but it always seems like there's something coming up and I just can't get ahead. Here at DePaco, we have a lot of different kind of tips and tricks to help you out with this. Specifically, one thing right off the bat is you name it savings accounts. So we like the thing that we go by here is pay yourself first. So after you've kind of figured out your budget, like Tony has stated, you should be determining how much you can save in that budget, okay? And the first thing you do before you even start to pay your bills, get your fun money ready to spend, you want to pay yourself first and you want to put some money in your savings. Now, a lot of the times the trick is just to kind of formulate that habit, the actual action of saving, okay? So a lot of the times we tell people, start small. Start with like $5, $10. Get yourself in a habit for about 6 months to a year of doing that. And then you can kind of, you know, once you get there and you've done that for a little bit, you can start to contribute more money, you know, as you go on. Another thing that we like to talk about is automatic or systematic savings. So the way the world's changed here, majority of companies, I would say, offer the option for direct deposit, okay? Now, this is a great feature because your paycheck is going directly into your account. You don't have to do anything. Well, at DePaco, you know, if you're great at saving, that's awesome. But if you need a little bit more accountability, a little bit more reinforcement, we do have some specific accounts that you can use to kind of help you and prevent you from getting in there and taking those funds out. So again, when we're using direct deposit and we're doing this automatically or systematically, and we like to say systematic savings, that is when you're allocating a small dollar amount out of your paycheck to automatically go into a savings account for you. That way it's done for you automatically. It's a smaller amount. It's something that you don't notice out of your check. And again, like I said, it's there for you to do automatically. You don't have to think about it. It's that easy. Saving with a purpose is another thing that we really like to stress. So again, I kind of talked about how, you know, we have great savers. We don't have, we have some people that need a little bit of work, but also to those people in the middle where they're told, you know, hey, I'm not good at just putting money away just to do it. But if I know I'm going to go on a vacation later on, or if I know I need to save for the holidays, so I make sure, you know, I have that peace of mind that I'm able to give gifts out around that time of the year. Or even too, just being proactive, having that kind of unexpected expense savings account. You know, if your car ever were to break down, or if you got hurt and you couldn't work. Sometimes it's a lot easier to save when you have something specific in mind to do that. A lot of different accounts that we offer to kind of help you with these specific needs, like I was talking about before, you name it savings account. We talk about this a lot. This is an account that you can actually name specifically to what you're trying to save for. And this is a way to kind of keep that separate from your actual emergency or your actual savings account. So you might have your savings account that you're putting money into each check, you know, for worst case scenario, some of those things that I mentioned before, those unexpected things. And then also in your account or with your membership at DePaco, you have the ability to have sub savings or you name it savings accounts. So you could label that vacation or new golf clubs or guitar or birthday present for mom. And it's just another great way or great tool that we have to kind of keep you focused and keep those things specific. Okay.
Yeah, so as you know, Pete and I are talking through this here between the budgeting piece and the savings piece. I think I'm just going to bring up this budget worksheet here so you guys are able to kind of to see what that looks like. If it'll open up here for me. This was kind of rogue that I was doing this, so, and of course it doesn't look like it's opening here on my iPad, so I apologize. There we go. So what this does here for you, so you can kind of get a visual of exactly how this works. So you have your income there at the top, as we had talked about, your net spendable income. your take-home pay that most people hear. So that goes up there at the top. And then this gets really, really detailed. And that's the part I think, if Pete, you would agree, a lot of people do struggle when it comes to getting detailed with their budgeting.
Definitely. And I think, Tony, it seems to be one of the hardest parts is just starting your budget. I mean, there's so many things that we're doing throughout our day, different transactions, soda, getting gas, different things throughout the day. And the whole point of the budget is just, it's a reference for you to see visually where your money is going. It's a great way to kind of identify, maybe we're spending a little bit too much on eating out, and we can kind of cut that back. Maybe we spend a little bit more on groceries to even those things out. So again, the budget is just a great tool to kind of use, and I really like this worksheet that we have here. Very, very easy to use. All you have to know is your monthly net income. You plug that in at top, and then you just kind of go through this bad boy just accordingly to what makes sense for you. So, there's different spots in there for your utilities, debts such as like credit cards, student loans, your cell phone, any charities, groceries, so on and so forth. I'm not going to read through them all. But again, it's just kind of a nice way to formalize all this for you. And it'll actually go down. There's a formula built into this, and it'll let you know at the end, do you have a shortage at the end of the month, or do you have a surplus? Obviously, we want to have money left over. And if we're showing up in the red here, we don't have enough money, then this is a nice way to kind of go back and play around and see how we can kind of move things to where they need to go, to kind of like what I said before, even those out. So we are having money left over at that.
And what's really neat with the budget too, and I recommend this for a lot of people, maybe you're listening to all this and go, gosh, I always have money left over in my checking account every month. And, I don't feel like I need to be saving because I'm able to pay all my bills. Well, that's where budgeting gets really fun, because then you get to start saving for the future, like Pete was talking about earlier. So that's where that budgeting swings right into savings, and that's why we say saving for the future and for yourself is what's most important. So just one great example of that I always like to mention. Maybe you don't have a car loan right now, or you're a fortunate person that doesn't have to have one, but maybe in the next year you plan on having one. Well, instead of paying that, paying that $300 or just spending it on something else every single month, you're able to put that aside into a savings account, that $300. So that would be a systematic savings that Pete was talking about. Now you have that $300 set aside for a year. You have yourself $3,600 to go put down on a new car. Plus, you're used to having that $300 gone every single month because you were saving it. So that car payment isn't going to feel like such a big hit once it's a monthly payment for you. So that's just kind of an idea of what we're talking about when you can start systematically saving for yourself. It's a really, really great tool. So
Tony, how often should we be like doing our budget or checking over that?
Oh, that's a great question. He tricked me with that one here. I didn't know there was going to be questions for me. Good question. I personally I do my budgets every few months. Now I'm a little crazy with it. I would say anytime there's a change in income or a change in expenses, it's really great to review that budget. Would you agree, Pete?
Definitely, yeah. I mean, kind of like what he stated, anytime there's a big change in your life, like a new job, maybe you're increasing your wage, maybe you're taking a pay cut, if you're thinking about moving, maybe outside of the state, or just moving in general, I mean, you're gonna have those unexpected expenses and different things like that come up. So it is a good thing. I mean, I get asked that question a lot too, people think, it's just kind of a one-time deal. You get the budget and then you're good to go, and you can just reference that exact same, budget that you've done for, 5-10 years. But our lives are always changing. Nothing is that constant. So we have to continuously be reviewing that information.
Yeah, and another big thing, what would you say, Pete, if somebody wants to save for the future? Let's say they have a vacation next year and they know they need $2,000 for it. How do you save $2,000 in a year? What do you recommend doing?
I mean, I would recommend, starting as soon as you know you have to do it. That's obviously the great point, is getting started. There's different ways to kind of figure that out. Obviously, you can do a little bit of math and figure, hey, I need to save X amount of dollars this paycheck. I myself like to break it down, obviously, by how often I get paid. With me being paid bi-weekly, I don't know if you're getting paid weekly, semi-monthly, it just depends that. But I like to make kind of like weekly goals for myself. I just feel like me specifically, it helps me stay on track. And that's just another thing too, with both the budgeting and the savings. You know, what works for me might not work for Tony, and then vice versa. What works for Tony might not work for me. So you really have to figure out what's going to work best for you. You know, are you able just to say that, Will, without having anything specific in mind? Do you need a little bit more accountability? Do you find yourself putting money in your savings, but then you're tempted to use that, take those funds out? So if any of those things happen, or you do ever need help with that, that's kind of what we're here for. We have some really good advice. We have some great ideas that we'd love to kind of show you to take your savings and your budgeting skills to the next level, so you can be, you know, efficient with those things.
Yeah, that's a great point, Pete. Well, I think what I'm going to show you guys here real quick before we get questions, I just kind of want to show a little bit more information. We touched on what DePaco Connect is, but we have a great little flyer here that we can show you with a little bit more information. So this is a really cool piece that DePaco is doing. So Pete mentioned the DePaco Connect earlier, and we're really starting to try to meet people where they're at. So, you know, it's not always easy to be able to walk into a financial and get help nowadays, because a lot are closed. DePacos are open, but many financials are closed. So DePaco is really going the virtual route and trying to connect not only in person, but also virtually with people. So like here in Cascade, we have this Connect location. We don't have an actual branch here, but we're able to meet with members and non-members in town, which is a great tool for this community. So really what we're looking to do is help people with education, give them some advice, and then, you know, obviously financial guidance. So as Pete had mentioned, we're able to connect directly with us here at this email address. It's connect@depaco.com. And you probably, you know, unfortunately would have to talk to either Pete or I. So, you know, you're going to have to deal with one of us. But, you know, it's going to be free, no cost for you guys, no obligation to have a financial consultation with either of us. So we'd love to work with you and your financial goals and find the best way really to help you reach those.
Yeah, definitely.
So that's our kind of our spiel for this evening, talking about budgeting and savings. Love to open it up if anyone does have any specific questions for us. You guys can either chat those, or if you feel like emailing us, if you don't want to talk directly through here. Otherwise, you can certainly reach out anyway through a DePaco employee as well. So we'll wait just a few minutes here. Feel free to disconnect if you don't need anything else from us, and we'll wait here. All right, well, I think if we still have some people on here, we are going to wrap it up for this evening. It doesn't look like we're getting any comments, so, oh, thank you. We did get one in here. Somebody told us thanks, so let me see if I can get the message up. Perfect, thank you, Brenda. That's awesome. That, yes, the info on the website is great to look at. So once again, we will get out of here for the evening. So thanks for hanging out with us for the last half hour. And once again, Tony at DePaco and Pete signing out for you in the evening. Thanks, everybody.
See you next week.